The continuing revelations over Jeffrey Epstein, the US financier and sex offender who died in jail in 2019. When files pertaining to his investigation resurface, the media asks who's guilty, instead perhaps of asking who has been carrying the weight of these choices for years. Because there's the moment when a scandal is exposed, and then there's all the time someone has spent living with it. The Epstein episode is doing exactly that. And among the various powerful names mentioned in the files is Bill Gates. He's the co-founder of Microsoft and one of the world's richest people. He's long acknowledged that meeting Epstein was a mistake.
I never went to the island, I never met any women, and so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
He has denied any wrongdoing, and legally speaking, his name in the documents does not mean guilt. But here's where the story shifts. Bill Gates' name is mentioned in recently released files related to the Epstein investigation. Melinda Gates, his former wife, was asked about this in a podcast, and her response came not as a philanthropist, not as a co-chair of their foundation, but as a woman reflecting on a marriage that lasted nearly 3 decades. She spoke of sadness and of painful memories.
For me, it's personally hard whenever those details come up, right? Because it brings back memories of some very, very painful times in my marriage. Whatever questions remain there of what I can't even begin to know all of it. Those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband. They need to answer to those things, not me.
She said all those questions are for him to answer. Well, to understand why, we need to go back to 2021 when the two announced their divorce. The separation came after 27 years. Back then, there wasn't any public shame or drama. It ended with dignity. But over the years, the complications came to light. Melinda Gates had raised concerns years before the divorce. Concerns about Bill Gates' ties with Epstein. Reports also point to controversies around his alleged infidelity concerning an alleged workplace affair. But Bill Gates' association with Epstein was a major factor, and that led to the breaking point. Now, fast forward to the present. Bill Gates is again in the Epstein spotlight. There's a claim that he caught a sexually transmitted disease. They come from unverified draft emails written by Epstein. He and his team have categorically rejected the allegations, but Gates admits there have been mistakes.
No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I, apologize that I did that.
Well, being named in the documents doesn't prove anything. Neither does it establish wrongdoing. But it does expose how the proximity to predators was normalized. And this has existed for years. Jeffrey Epstein was registered as a sex offender in 2008. He pleaded guilty to soliciting a minor. High-profile people from business, politics, and academia still met and engaged with him even after that. It includes the brother of King Charles, ex-Prince Andrew, Ehud Barak, the former Prime Minister of Israel, and intellectual Noam Chomsky. So people knew who Jeffrey Epstein was, and yet the meetings, the emails and conversations continued. Well, this is why Melinda Gates' remarks perhaps land differently. Her response doesn't speculate, it doesn't accuse, it draws a clear boundary which perhaps shifts the moral spotlight. The world doesn't fit in boxes, so why should your news? From battlefields to negotiation tables, from internet outrage to real-world injustice. Conversations everyone is having and the ones they're avoiding. It's the same show, but this new year, Firstpost America gets a new look. I'm Kerry Johnston, and this is Firstpost America.